Hello and welcome to another episode of Seven Story Podcast. And the today's guest, depending on which time zone you're in, is going to be SS Nightshade. So, would you introduce yourself and tell the people a little bit about you?
Hi, I'm SS Nightshade. I go by Nightshade online because I feel like that's easier for everybody. I own my own little bookish LLC, which I use to promote all of my work as an indie author. And I try to write mostly for adult audiences right now because I'm kind of sick of the chosen one always being 16. So I always have it be an adult that's like the main character with the power that's doing all the fun stuff and being like, yeah, we're in this and doing this. Lots of high fantasy, lots of romance, lots of chaos going on in my books. But yeah, that's me and what I do.
All right. So, on to the first question. What do you like to do outside of writing? Now, what's a day in the life like for you?
I work at a school, so I'm around teenagers all day, and I like being around them. I like being around them, but it's a lot. So I'm ping-ponging back and forth between what I do as a writer and what I do as a job. But when I have that little narrow stream of time in between both of those, I'm usually outside doing something active. I like to hike. I played a lot of sports growing up, so I'm in two different gyms just to keep that lifestyle up. And I am actually married, and I drag him along with me on all my activities. So we keep pretty busy doing stuff when we're not actually working when we get a minute.
Okay, got you. So, just a curiosity question. Would you say that, your job dealing with teenagers is kind of what, disenchanted you from the whole chosen one being 16 trope in your fantasies?
Actually, no, it was me being 16 and looking back at me being 16, and I'm like, yeah, nah, you can't handle that power with that mindset. I gotta make these people a little bit older, a little bit more mature, but not really having to do with the kids that I work with. Looking back at me being a kid with the kids that I was in school with, and I'm like, yeah, no, we're not handling any of this stuff that's going on very well. So everybody's got to be a little bit older, college age at least.
Okay. Yeah,
Hmm.
I find it interesting that they don't use college students, more so than like high schoolers. Like there's this obsession. Like,
Yeah, like
chosen one in the story.
especially in romance books too. Like the female leads are always like that 19 to 22-year-old gap sometimes. And I'm like, this is a lot of people at this age, but okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, what inspired your first work? What was the thing that got you into writing in the first place?
We're gonna get a little deep here for a second, and I'll try not to go into it too far. But writing was actually a coping mechanism for me from
Mm,
a severely traumatic experience that I went through. And I was like, okay, what can I do so I don't like go down the wrong path in life? And I started writing a lot of poetry,
yeah.
and I created my first character, Raven Nightshade, and now she has a book and the second book is coming out,
Oh,
and kind of put everything that I was dealing with into her and how I wished I could handle it in real life into her, because when you're putting it on paper it's limitless, it's whatever you could come up with. So
mm.
it really was a coping mechanism for me to get through that moment in my life.
Oh, okay. Got
Hmm.
you. Got you. I mean, sometimes, writing is therapeutic, and when your thoughts are just racing at a million miles a minute,
Hmm.
oh, the good
Slows
old
them down.
fashioned, meditation is not going to work. It's just like, hey, these need to go out.
Yep. Gotta slow it all down before I try to ground myself. Yep.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, aside from traumatic experiences, like how do you come up with characters? Are they more spontaneous or meticulously planned?
The main characters are usually meticulously planned because I know what I want to do with the story idea I come up with. And I'm like, okay, who's the one or two people that are going to make this run and go in the direction that I want it to go? So I usually develop my main characters probably for like a month, month and a half, I'd say. And then any side characters that pop up, they're spontaneous just along the road of, oh, I need this right now. Let me create someone to fill in that gap that I'm currently missing for the plot or relationships as they go about.
Okay. Have you ever had any side characters, take on a larger role than you planned?
Oh, yeah. I am dealing with two big problems right now. One is a vampire named Finnegan who's going absolutely crazy in book 2 of my series. And
Yeah.
in that book, I'm also dealing with a sentient piece of magic that I've named Valen. And I'm like, you were not supposed to exist, let alone be real. Why are you talking to everyone? And
Right.
they created an entire like subplot along the side quest all the way hard left. And I was like, okay, how do I deal with that after I get like the main road created and done? Because that's a great idea going into book 3, but you're not supposed to be here right now. And they showed up in like chapter 3. I'm like, thanks, guys. They were
Yeah.
very impatient and just went for it.
They're like, hey, look, now we here. What you gonna do about
Uh-huh.
it?
Literally, that's Val. And he's sitting back like, I'm the sentient magic. You're gonna need to address this, or I'm just gonna keep going off. And I'm like, okay, slow down.
Oh man, that is interesting. So like, I don't know. I mean, like, how do you typically deal with that? Like when that kind of happens. Like subplots that kind of make the main plot a little more complex than you originally planned it out to be.
I'm not recommending it, but I ignore it for a minute. I
Uh,
scribble it. I literally have a piece of paper on my wall over here with just stuff scribbled all the way down it of, I like that, but you're not my problem right now because if I try to think you out, I'm going to lose what I'm doing right here. And I got to
yeah.
finish this first. But it's probably like about 7 feet long. It's going from my ceiling to almost my floor. And
Okay.
it's just got all this stuff written all over it for the different books that I'm working on. And I got to get to all that eventually, but it's not my problem right now.
I got
It's over there for a rainy day.
I mean, that's interesting. Like like a lot of stuff I do is off the top of the head. It's like
Hmm.
no, like whenever I have a story that I'm writing, well, whenever I'm writing, it's just I just make sure like a couple things happen. Like I'm usually laissez-faire. Like, hey, the story goes how it goes. Whoever
Hmm.
comes in, I don't care. As long
Yep.
as
Yep.
1, 2, and 3 happen, that's it.
Yep. The rest of the time, we just work here. Don't
Yeah,
ask. We don't know.
yeah. As long as this point, and this
Mhm.
point, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
I try to control everything, then I end up controlling nothing. So,
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So, what's the most difficult thing about being a writer, in your opinion?
The time that you have to set aside, not for the creation, but the editing,
Mhm.
really. Like, that's what I'm going through right now. I'm staring at May 1st in the face, and I'm like, okay, I got to stay ahead of you,
Right.
but making sure you have enough time, do enough get edits, get enough eyes on it. Even if you have enough time, it's still a lot of pressure that we've done to ourselves, but gotta deal with it. What about
God.
you?
Um, it's literally just writing. Well, because I mean,
Getting it
like,
on paper.
as of as of right now, I haven't written anything in a couple months. I've more so
Mm,
been, you see under the, the name, I've been running the publishing company. So it's like
yeah.
he's sitting down and being an author is kind of taking a back seat so I can help, everyone else, get their work that they already completed out, and
Mhm, mhm.
just people that have short stories, people that have poems and stuff like that. Just helping others in any way I can to kind of like get visibility and traction. I like doing this, so I don't mind, But if you ask me what's the most difficult part about writing is, well, actually sitting down and writing something.
Getting to actually do your stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. I have a feeling this is gonna be a long answer coming from you, but
Oh
hey.
boy. I'm
Uh,
really trying to
so
keep them
what
short, I
is
promise.
so what is your process for completing a work from outline to like final product?
Uh, time-wise only, between 3 and 5 months, depending on how long the book is. So if
No.
it's like 200 to 300 pages, we're more so at that 3.5, 4 month range. But if it's getting up to 400 to 500 pages, we're getting up to 4 or 5 months just because you gotta get through it that many times and then have people see it as well before you can release it. Outlining, I'm the crazy person that doesn't do that. I have a
Neither do I.
document that has a
Okay.
couple of like plot points that are bullet pointed and then a character name that's attached to them, but I don't actually outline because honestly, I got ADHD too. If I outline it, I know everything that I painstakingly put down and make beautiful. It's all going to be different 2 months in the future anyway. So I don't even want to bother trying to plan it perfectly. I'd
Yeah.
rather just lean into it and let it happen and fix it as I go.
Right.
Mhm.
Definitely. Oh no, I do even less than that. I just start writing a novel.
Yeah. Be like,
Like it
oh, I
just
got a
starts out as
paragraph idea, scribble.
yeah, it just starts out as a vision, and then I was like, okay. Then I
Yep.
just plan a story out in my head. It's like, okay, what needs to happen to complete this story?
Hmm.
1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. That's the story. Just write
That's it. Done.
it. Oh, that's interesting though. But yeah, like I've asked people that question, like, oh yeah, I do this meticulous outline. I do like a month worth of research. I do this.
There's like, I do research. I do that. But
Mhm.
then I'm looking at like these other people. I'm like, I would love to dedicate the amount. They've got stacks of papers this thick of just outlines of how everything's breaking down. I'm like, girl, that's just the book. Make it full sentences and get rid of the bullet points. You're done. And I'm
Right.
like, how do you do that?
Oh yeah, nah.
Hmm.
Uh,
I ain't got the
I've done
self
enough of that
control
in
for
college.
that.
I'm not doing that for fiction. I've done enough of
No,
that in college. Not doing
no.
it. All right. So this is a fun question. What's the most unhinged thing you've written in your novel? Don't worry, we don't judge here. It's unhinged for a reason.
This is a fun question, but you don't understand how hard this is for me because all of them are unhinged.
Mm.
Um, um, it's either gonna be Raven or Braxton, and they're both from different books, which isn't helping. Honestly, I'm not even gonna deal with the two of them. I'm gonna say Silas is just the most unhinged thing in any of the books, the
Mhm.
character himself, instead of trying to pinpoint an action, because think like classic sassy soccer mom vibes, but
Mhm.
make it into an elegant Victorian vampire that's clutching a goblet of wine to his chest. He's the most unhinged thing I've ever created.
Okay.
Yep.
You live forever, but you're constantly depressed. Okay, I got
Oh,
you.
yeah.
I can kind of see. I can see that.
Hmm.
It's just like, just
Yep.
just
And
too
then
much. It's like,
yapping at everybody else and then dropping the bombshells of, oh, I can do this. Well, that would have been useful 2 days ago. Why didn't you tell us? You didn't
right.
ask. Sorry. My bad. I'm going to just pour another glass. Oh, you don't want me to pour another glass? You want, oh, fine. I'll do the thing. That's how he acts.
That's vampires can get drunk like that, right?
Apparently they can. He's in his behavior. He's telling me that they can.
Okay, I mean,
Yep.
all right. Drunken vampires. That sounds like a good title, but
A good
hey.
time, but why do we need it?
Okay, so what's one thing that just drives you up the wall in writing in general? It could be at any stage, any point. But what's one thing that just drives you up the wall? Like, oh,
Formatting.
huh?
Formatting the interior of a book, the interior of an ebook. I don't care what it is, formatting the cover, and I make my own covers, which drives me nuts.
Hmm.
The people that do formatting full time, bless your heart. You guys are freaking angels. I don't know how you guys do that.
Right.
Drives me nuts. This
Hmm.
needs to move a millimeter to the side. Okay, can you tell me what this is so I can move it a millimeter to the side? Doesn't tell you what it is, you just gotta find it. Drives me
Yeah,
nuts. Hmm.
it's kind of like coding.
Oh yeah, yeah. Formatting, I really do feel like is the equivalent of coding, just
Yeah.
not computer wise. Okay, I gotta pick up this cat because he is nuzzling my tripod. Hi, I'm also a cat mom. One will behave and we will not see her. This one will not behave because I'm talking, so he must be involved.
It's an
Hi,
orange cat,
I'm
so it
Scooter.
kind of.
If I put you down, will you please not knock over the tripod? Can we agree to that?
No promises.
He's walking away. I'm gonna take it.
I mean, it's an orange cat, so they
Oh my
always.
god, yeah. And don't even get me started.
Oh man, but that's Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like format, yeah, it's like because you'll do it one way and it looks good, but then when it comes out on the final product, everything's all over the place.
Mhm. 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 And
You're
some
just
of it's not
wondering.
even there. It just disappears. You're like, "Where'd it
Yeah,
go?"
yep. It's like, oh wait, there was actually some functions you were supposed to put to make it stay that way, but you're
Yep.
not you're not that
And
tech
all
savvy.
of them are different. If you're in Microsoft Word, if you're doing it straight through Kindle, all of them are different. They can't just have a universal way to put stuff in. Nope, you gotta change it all.
Oh yeah, branding.
Branding. Mhm.
All
For
right,
security
so
purposes. Okay.
right.
Yeah.
So, what does being a successful writer look like for you? What's the type of life you envision for yourself? Just being a successful writer.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say it wouldn't be great to have, like, a best-selling book and the cash that came with it, because then I could just put that stuff back into my writing,
Yeah.
but that's not exactly the point. Would be great to have, but not the point. What
Hmm.
I really want is my LLC to not exactly take off, but be kind of a loud voice in the indie author world, because I do my own covers. I eventually, once I figure it all out and it doesn't stress me out that much, want to offer formatting services so other people don't need to struggle through it. I
Right.
already offer editing services because everything is so freaking expensive. And I'm like, it's not about the money. I'll edit your stuff for like my packages start at $75 because
Hmm.
I know I get it. I just want to be paid for the time I'm putting into it. That's it. So I do want my books and my voice to be successful, but I also want that aspect to be successful, because all this crumbles if we're not here for each other. If we're not giving back when we're getting stuff given to us, it's all just going to disperse and be gone. So I want my LLC to equally take off as my books do, so that I can keep helping the next generation, the people that have
Yeah.
been doing this but also haven't gotten their shot yet. Like, that's what I want.
Oh, nice.
Mhm.
That's a that's a compelling vision.
And an
Similar.
exhausting one.
Yeah. Oh my god. We're gonna have to have a talk about that one. That's a
Feel
very
free.
interesting answer.
Feel free.
All right. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I kind of have a similar vision in that. Like just being the publisher. Just helping authors get their work out.
Mhm,
Like we
mhm,
have 7 magazines that cover almost every genre you could think of. So it's like
mhm,
romantic, dark fantasy, regular fantasy, doesn't matter. The limit is like 20,000 words. So, you can really, we do short stories now, but we're trying to expand to books and, uh,
mhm.
things of that nature. And oh man, it's a tall order, but hey, it'll
Yeah.
get done.
But you are the person that's at the top, and we're like, "Oh my god, thank you, because you're listening and you're helping us."
Oh yeah, but even those at the top need help though. So,
That too. Yep, yep, yep.
oh man. But this all right. So the last question before we wrap up: describe your writing journey. If you had to write a story centered around that, do you think you could pull it off?
I would have to have a really, really long trigger list in the beginning, but I'd be able to pull it off, yeah.
Okay.
Because like I mentioned before, it started as a coping mechanism for trauma, so I'd really have to get into that in detail if I were to do just the writing journey of it, because I started out in poetry, and I do
Hmm.
have some poetry out, but it's really, really deep and really, really rough, because, like, a lot of it I wrote when I was 14 or 15 and 16, and I finished it when I was 24. So
Okay.
that honestly, that kind of would reflect the journey that I went through. It's just very indirect of, this is how my writing is developed over this decade. This is the lenses of being a teenager, then going into womanhood. This is the lenses of being traumatized, starting to heal from that, kind of getting out at the end with the light at the end of the tunnel, but not quite there yet. So it does kind of indirectly point at it already, but if it was gonna be like a book and like a memoir per se, it'd be
Okay.
really, really deep, really, really rough. But I think I could pull it off if I just altered, like, the tone from poetry to typical writing, conversational writing per se.
Okay. Nice, nice. I mean, it sounds like you'd be thoroughly able to pull it off because if you wrote it as a memoir or anything
Whether
like that,
people want me to or not, I think I could.
yeah. I mean, hey, but just don't put any trigger warnings on it. Just just go into it.
Read
Just
this at your own risk is the title, a memoir.
oh my god. But yeah, that's all the questions that I got for you. Uh,
Okay.
Brisk interview, but this will be the time for you to kind of promote yourself and your services, what you do, where people can find you, things of that nature. And with that, take it away.
Right. I'm not going to take too much time on it because I don't want to be that person that sits here for 20 minutes talking about myself. But most of all of my stuff you can find on my website, and that's just www.nightshadeswritingdesk LLC. That's tagged in all of my bios. It's in my link tree. I'm protagonist writing O1 or SS Nightshade on every single app that exists. There's a few new ones that came out that I'm not on yet, but that will be my username on them when I'm on there. And just to low down, all my books, they're for sale on my website. I honestly try to keep them cheaper there than on Amazon or Ingram Spark because like everybody's going to up it. Like they force you to put it at a certain price and then they sell it for a little bit higher than that price so they can get their cut. And I get that. But if it only costs me $8 to print it, I'm not going to charge you 30 to buy it. That doesn't make sense to me. So
Right.
you can find all my books on my website, usually for cheaper. Broken down editing packages, what the final cost would be for how much you need done and how much time it would take. And if you need it to be like a sprint, like do it faster, like that's broken down as well. Book covers aren't really broken down. I really handle those on a one-to-one basis because it really is based on what you got. If it's
Right.
something simple that I can knock out in a week and a half, 2 weeks, 75 to $100 done. If you want something really complicated, like I'm doing on one of my books right now, like if someone asked me to do this, I would ask for the $450, $500 because I've been working on it for a month and a half and it's very, very tedious. So it's just based on
Right.
what do you want, and we'll have that conversation and come to a number we both agree on. Um, then I also have some book merch and character merch, which I'm trying to slowly expand on as well. So for my main book, my series right now my cat's meowing in the background. Yay, thanks, Scooter.
Mm-hmm.
I've got character wax melts for my 5 main characters, which I make with Castle Door wax melts. She is awesome. Go check her out. She will have so many cool things on her website too. And then just like the average character art, I got stickers, I got prints, that type of stuff on there too. If anyone's going to follow me on anything, find me on Threads because I am the most fun there. It's just the unhinged, chaotic thoughts that I have throughout the day of ba 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 ba. This is here. You'll get to know me if you follow me on Threads. All that's there, but you'll see book stuff there occasionally too. But yeah, that's pretty much me. That's what I got. Thank you for letting me be on today. I was super excited when you guys reached out because this is the first one of these I've gotten to do.
Hey, nice. Glad to be anyone's first interview. Keep it smooth, copacetic.
Hmm.
It's not too harrowing.
Nah,
A lot of
we're
lights,
good. This was
just,
great.
just conversation.
Scooter, please stop walking into the tripod. I beg. Stop orange catting for 30 seconds.
Nah, I'm not doing that.
Mm-mm.
Anyway, I'd like to thank you, Nightshade, for coming on down and interviewing with little Seven Story Publishing. And to the one person that hopped in, hopped out, we love you, and we'll see you in the next one. And for those on the replay, what's up?
What's up?
Anyway, that's a
All right.
wrap. We'll see you on the next one.
All right. I'll see you. Have a great weekend.
All right.